Now let us see few JavaScript interview questions and answers. So first will be, what is JavaScript? You can say that JavaScript is a lightweight interpreted programming language with object-oriented capabilities that allows you to build interactivity into otherwise static HTML pages. So HTML pages, they are static, means now HTML5 has come, but JavaScript is actually a programming language, and though it is an interpreted language, but it gives the object-oriented capabilities so that you can interact with the HTML pages. JavaScript has nothing to do with Java. Please understand, it has nothing to do with Java. This is the general purpose core of the language, has been embedded in Netscape, Internet Explorer and various other web browsers. The other question may be, name some of the JavaScript features. These are the JavaScript features, like it is lightweight, it is interpreted programming language. JavaScript is designed for creating network applications, and JavaScript is complementary to your and integrated with Java, and JavaScript is complementary to and integrated with HTML. See, it is complementary to and integrated with Java, right? But it has nothing to do with Java. Don't understand that the name it has something to do with Java. And JavaScript is open and cross-platform. This is very important. This is open and cross-platform, means it is supported in most of the or almost all the platforms. Then the question will be, what are the advantages of using JavaScript? These are the advantages of using JavaScript. First of all, less server interaction. So you can validate your input before sending page off to the server. Okay, so less server interaction. So this saves server traffic, which means less load on your server. The second is immediate feedback to the visitor. They don't have to wait for page to reload to see if they have got forgotten to enter something. So then and there, in front of them, without waiting, they can get the feedback. Increased interactivity means you can create interfaces that react when the user hovers over them with the mouse or activates them via the keyboard. This can be done. Increase interactivity. Then richer interfaces, that means you can use JavaScript to include such items as drag and drop components and sliders to give rich interface to your site visitors. Then you may be asked, what are the disadvantages of JavaScript? So, we cannot treat JavaScript as a full-fledged programming language. So it is just a complementary language for some tasks, but it is not a full-fledged programming language. It lacks some features, like client-side JavaScript does not allow the reading or writing of files. One is this, and this has been kept for security reasons actually. And the other is how JavaScript can not be used for networking applications because there is no such support available. And JavaScript doesn't have any multi-threading or multi-processor capabilities. So no reading and writing, no network application, no multi-threading and no multi-processing capabilities. That is why it is not a full-fledged programming language. Then you may be asked, is JavaScript a case-sensitive language? What you are going to answer? Yes, JavaScript is a case-sensitive language. So this means that the language keywords, variables, function names, and any other identifiers must always be typed with a consistent capitalization of the letters. Okay. Now you will be asked, how can you create an object in JavaScript? Because it provides object-oriented capabilities to you. So JavaScript supports object concepts as well. So you can create an object using the object literal as follows. Variable emp, that is in this curly braces, you can write name colon Zara and age colon 10, and by completing this curly braces, then a semicolon. So how can you read properties of an object in JavaScript? You can read and write properties of an object using the dot notation as follows. Same example we have taken. So this emp, the age is less, but still we are taking an example. So emp.name will be and emp.age. This emp.name will be Zara and emp.age will be 10. And we can also set the object properties like emp.name will be some Daisy and emp.age can be some 20. So how can you create an array in JavaScript? So you can define array using the array literals as where x, where is for variable, x is an identifier, is equal to this. This is a square bracket. And where y is equal to 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So how to read elements of an array in JavaScript? Because we have defined the array. Now an array has a length property that is useful for iteration. So we can read elements of an array like this. This is the variable we have just created. Name it as x. Where I equal to 0, I is again a variable. I is less than x. This is the x and length. X dot length will give the complete number of elements, and this will be I plus plus. And do something with is xi. This will take out the value of the array values 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So, and what is a named function in JavaScript and how to define a named function? A named function has a name when it is defined. So a name function can be defined like this. Function you have to write. Then this can be some name. We have named it as named. And then round brackets and then curly braces and curly braces. Whatever stuff you want to do, you can do here. So you have to write this function name. Function name is, function is a keyword. Now you may be asked how many types of functions JavaScript supports. A function in JavaScript can either be named or anonymous. So these are the things which can functions JavaScript can support, named or anonymous. How to define an anonymous function? Now the question comes like this. An anonymous function can be defined in a similar way as a normal function, but it would not have any name. This is very important. It will not have a name. So can you assign an anonymous function to a variable? This is also a question. Yes, an anonymous function can be assigned to a variable. And can you pass an anonymous function as an argument to another function? Yes. If this is possible, this is also possible. An anonymous function can be passed as an argument to another function because it is actually a function. It will have all the properties of a normal function, named function. Then what is arguments object in JavaScript? So JavaScript variable arguments represent the argument passed to a function. So arguments are the values which are being passed, formal or actual, to the function. So how can you get the type of arguments passed to a function? Now this type has come. We can use type of operator. So we can get the type of argument passed to a function. For example, this is function. The function name is func and this is the variable x. Now console.log type of x. This is type of, right? We have used type of x and then argument length. You can use func, this is undefined because you have not given passed any value. Func1 you have passed value, and since you have done some processing also here, the result will be like this: number, comma 1, func 1, 2, 3. Right? This can be done. So how can you get the total number of arguments passed to a function? How can you do it? Using arguments.length property. You don't know how many arguments are there. You just write arguments and dot with length. This argument.length property, we can get the total number of arguments passed to a function. For example, this is function. Func name is x, console.log, type of x, and arguments.length. This is arguments.length. This is what arguments.length is all about. Don't worry about all these things. This is just for completeness sake. You just concentrate on this type of and this argument struct length. This is what has been asked. The other question may be, how can you get the reference of a caller function inside a function? The argument object has a callee property which refers to the function you are inside. For example, you see function func return arguments dot callee, CALEE. This is a callee function. Sorry, callee property. So arguments dot callee, this argument object, this is a callee property which refers to the function you are inside. So you are inside this function, so it will tell you where you are. So func, it will say you where you are. So what is the purpose of this operator in JavaScript? Because this is used everywhere. You will find it in C++, you will find it in Java. So JavaScript famous keyword, this always refers to the current context. Please understand, current context. So in a way you can assume it as a object, but in this case JavaScript we call it as a context. Then you may be asked, what are the valid scopes of variables in JavaScript? The scope of a variable is the region of your program in which it is defined. So JavaScript variable will have only two scopes, just two scopes. Global variable, a global variable has a global scope, which means it is visible everywhere in your JavaScript code, while the local variable will be only visible within a function where it is defined. So function parameters are always local to the function. Function parameters are always local to the function. So which type of variable among global and local takes precedence over other if names are same? Which one? The local variable takes precedence over global variable with the same name. So local because it is inside, so it takes precedence over the global variables. Then comes what is callback. The callback is a plain JavaScript function passed to the same method as an argument or option. So some callbacks are just events called to give the user a chance to react when a certain stage is triggered. This is callback. What is a closure? Closures are created whenever a variable that is defined outside the current scope is accessed from within some inner scope. Again, closures are created, whenever a variable that is defined outside, which is outside the scope, current scope, this is accessed from within some inner scope, then the closures are created. Let us give an example of closure because this is a tough explanation. Let us see the example which shows how the variable counter is visible within the create, increment and print functions but are not outside of them. Okay, so this is a function create. So here we have a function called create. Inside this we have a variable counter equal to 0. We are talking about this counter. And we say that return, and inside this return we have called this increment and function again, the same function with counter plus plus. And just outside this we have this print function and we say it as console.log counter. Now in this particular case, a variable c equal to create, the counter is available, c.increment counter is available and c.print counter is available. So this is the example which shows the variable counter which is visible within create, increment and print functions but not outside of them. Anywhere it is not available. Now it can be asked, which built-in method returns the character at the specified index? For that, char at method. This char at method returns the character at the specified index. Now which built-in method combines the text of two strings and returns a new string? For that you have this concat method which returns the character at the specified index. Now you may be asked, which built-in method calls a function for each element in the array? Which built-in method calls a function for each element in the array? So for each, this is the method which calls a function for each element in the array. Now which built-in method returns the index? Which built-in method returns the index within the calling string object of the first occurrence of the specified value. This is index of. This method index of returns the index within the calling string object of the first occurrence of the specified value, or -1. If it is not found, then -1. Which built-in method returns the length of the string? This is length method. This returns the length of the string. Then which built-in method removes the last element from an array and returns that last element? For that you may use pop. This pop for stack, you use pop and push. So pop method removes the last element from an array and returns that element. Which built-in method adds one more element to the end of the array and returns the new length of the array? For that you use push. This is the push method that adds one more element to the end of the array and returns the new length of the array. Now the other question may be, which built-in method reverses the order of the elements of an array? Reverses the order of the elements of an array. Reverse method. This reverses the order of the element of the array, and the first element or first becomes the last and the last becomes the first. Which built-in method sorts the element of an array? Sort methods. These names actually they are self-sufficient to answer your queries. Sort method sorts the element of an array. Then which built-in method returns the characters in a string beginning at the specified location? For that you use substring. This substring, substr, this method returns the character in a string beginning at the specified location through the specified number of characters. Then which built-in method returns the calling string value converted to lowercase? So you write 2, this is small, 2, then lower, L is capital, C is capital. To lowercase, this method return the calling value string value converted to the lowercase. Now the same question with the uppercase. For that you use to uppercase method. To small, U capital, C capital. To uppercase method returns the calling string value converted to uppercase. Now which built-in method returns the string representation of the number value? You have a number, numeric form, you want to convert it into this string. For that you use toString, to small, S capital in toString. This method returns the string representation of the numbers value. Now what are the variable naming conventions in JavaScript? Okay, these are the naming conventions of variables. So let us see. While naming variables in JavaScript, we have to keep these things into mind. You should not use any of the JavaScript reserved keyword as variable name. So keyword not allowed. These keywords are mentioned in the next section. We'll see shortly. And for example, break or boolean variable names are not valid because these are JavaScript reserved keyword. So JavaScript variable names should not start with 0 to 9, means no numeral. They must begin with a letter or underscore, right? For example, this is invalid, but this is valid. Underscore 123 test is a valid. And JavaScript variable names are case sensitive. Please mind it, they are case sensitive. For example, name, N is capital here, and name, these are two different variables because N is uppercase, N is small case here. So how type of operator work? This can be asked. How type of operator this works? This type of is a unary operator. This is a unary operator that is placed before its single operand, which can be of any type, and its value is a string, which is indicating the data type of the operand. So this type of operator evaluates the number, string, boolean if its operand is a number, string or boolean value and returns true or false based on the evaluation. So it checks whether it is there, these are actually what data type, and it returns true or false. Then you may be asked what type of returns for a null value. This type of, we have just seen earlier question. So what this type of returns for a null value? So it returns an object, right? Can you access cookie using JavaScript? Cookie is whenever you access web, so cookies are stored in your browser or in your cache, browser cache, so that you can, whenever you access that website or page again, so it may be loaded faster, or things does not go to server again. So cookie is like a cache memory as far as this is concerned, a browser is concerned. So JavaScript can also manipulate cookies using the cookie property of the document object. So JavaScript can read, create, modify and delete the cookie or cookies that apply to the current web page. How to create how can you create this cookie using JavaScript? The simplest way to create a cookie is to assign a string value to the document cookie object. Document.cookie object. See, document.cookie object, which look like this. Let us see. Document.cookie is equal to key1 is equal to value. You can, as I said, the simplest way to create a cookie is to assign a string value to the cookie document cookie. So you are assigning a string value. So this again value key2 to some value to expire is equal to date. So all this can be assigned. Here this expires attribute is an option. If you provide this attributes with a valid date or time, then cookie will expire at a given date or time, and after that cookies will not be accessible. So these are optional, but if you give it, then it will see that how far this cookie has to go before dying out. So how to read a cookie using JavaScript? Reading a cookie is just as simple as writing one, because the value of the cookie document.cookie object is the cookie. So you can use this string whenever you want to access the cookie. So this document.cookie string will keep the list of name value pairs separated by a semicolon, where name is the name of the cookie and the value of its string value. So you can use string split function to break the string into key and values like this. Okay, we have just seen. This is 1, this is semicolon, again key value pair, semicolon, again key value pair. So now you can easily get each component or each part out of it as per your requirement. Now you may be asked how to delete a cookie using JavaScript. For that, sometimes you will want to delete a cookie, so that subsequent attempt to read the cookie return nothing. So to do this, you just need to set the expiration date to a time in the past, right? Now you may be asked how to redirect a URL using JavaScript. URL is a universal resource locator. So this is very simple to do a page redirect using JavaScript at client side. To redirect your site visitor to a new page, you just need to add a line in your head section as follows. Head, script type is text JavaScript. This shows that your script is JavaScript, and you just have to write window location is equal to HTTP, and this whatever location is there. Okay, window.location is this location. So how to print a web page using JavaScript? JavaScript helps you to implement this functionality to print a web page using print function of window object. So the JavaScript print function window.print, this is your function. Window.print will print the current web page when executed. What is date object in JavaScript? The date object is a data type built into the JavaScript language. So this date object are created with new date. You use new for that. Once a date object is created, a number of methods allow you to operate on it. So most methods simply allow you to get and set the year, month, day, hour, time, second, millisecond fields of the object. So using either local time or UTC universal or GMT time, you can do it. So what is the number object in JavaScript? Now you have number also. So this number object represents the numerical date, either integer or floating point numbers. So this is numerical date. In general, you do not need to worry about number objects because the browser automatically converts number literals into the instances of the number class. For example, creating a number object will be like this, where val is equal to new number. Okay, This is the number 1. So you create it with a number. So if the argument cannot be converted into a number, it returns an NaN, that is not a number. N for not, A for A, N for number. Then you come to how to handle exceptions in JavaScript. The latest version of JavaScript has added exception handling capabilities also. So JavaScript implements this try, catch and finally construct, as well as throw operator to handle exceptions. So you can catch programmer generated or runtime exceptions, but you cannot catch JavaScript syntax errors. What is the purpose of on-error event handler in JavaScript? This on-error event handler was the first feature to facilitate error handling to JavaScript. So the error event is fired on the window object whenever an exception occurs on the page. So on-error event handler provides 3 pieces of information to identify the exact nature of the error. First is the error message, the same message that the browser would display for the given error. Universal resource locator URL, the file in which the error has occurred, and the line number. The line number is the given URL that caused the error. So these were the few questions of JavaScript. Hope you got the idea and you will be able to answer. Thank you so much. Take care.